My name is Andrea Lopez, and I had been with my boyfriend Daniel for almost 6 years. We had a routine the way most couples do after that long. Not because we planned it, but because it formed on its own, quietly, the way habits do. Most nights were simple. We'd pick something to watch, talk over it more than we actually followed the plot, and usually fall asleep before it ended. It was the kind of ordinary that I never thought to appreciate until it was gone. That night, I was on the couch watching a movie I'd been meaning to catch up on, one Daniel never had much interest in, so I'd gotten into the habit of saving it for when he wasn't around. He had told me earlier that he might run late, so I didn't think much of it when 7 became 8 and 8 became 9. I checked my phone once, half expecting a message, but there was nothing, so I set it face down and kept watching. Then it rang, and when I looked at the screen and saw his mother's name, I sat up before I even answered. Something about seeing her name at that hour felt wrong in a way I couldn't explain. The kind of feeling that arrives before your mind has caught up to it. She was already crying when I picked up, her breathing uneven and broken, like she was trying to push words out between sobs and not managing it. When she finally said my name, her voice cracked on the last syllable, and I felt my grip tighten around the phone. "What happened?" I asked. She tried to explain. The words came out in pieces. Daniel, accident, motorcycle, hospital, ICU. And each one landed the same way, clean and hard, like something blunt connecting with the same bruise. I didn't ask her to slow down or repeat herself. I understood enough. "I'm coming," I said, and I ended the call, grabbed what I needed, and left the house without turning off the TV. I didn't notice until I was already on the road. When I arrived at the hospital, I saw her immediately. She was seated just outside the ICU, with her hands clasped together in her lap, leaning forward the way people do when they don't know what else to do with their body. I almost didn't recognize her at first, not because she looked different, but because she looked smaller than I remembered. Like the version of her sitting in that hallway was missing something essential. When she looked up and saw me, she stood, and I could see that her eyes were swollen and her face had gone pale. She had clearly been crying long enough that she had moved past the stage where it came easily. She reached for my arm the moment I was close enough, and held on without saying anything. And for a few seconds, neither of us spoke. There didn't seem to be a reason to. Then she started again, quietly, and told me what little she knew. He was inside. The doctor said he was stable, but still critical. She said the words carefully, the way someone repeats information they've been given, but haven't fully absorbed. I nodded, even though I wasn't sure I understood exactly what it meant either. And I didn't ask, because I don't think I wanted to hear the details broken down any further than that. She glanced toward the door, then back at me. "You can go in," she said. "I'll wait out here." I was already turning when she reached for my arm again. "Talk to him," she said. "They told me he can still hear." I didn't know if that was true. The doctors may have said it to give her something to hold on to, or they may have believed it. I had no way of knowing which. But I nodded, and I meant it, and I pushed the door open. "Hey, it's me. I'm here, Daniel. I'm right here. I don't understand. You were just supposed to come home tonight, that's all. You were just supposed to come home. Please, open your eyes. Just look at me. You have to fight, okay? You don't get to leave. Not like this. We still have that trip. We kept saying next time and next time. I should have just gone with you. We should have just gone. I'm not ready to do this without you. I'm not ready. So please, come back to me. Wake up, Daniel. I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere.
Help me. Please help me.
I woke up gasping, and for a moment I had no idea where I was. The room came back in pieces. The machines, the dim light, the curtain, the steady green glow of the monitors, and Daniel, still beside me, still unmoving. I sat in the chair with both hands gripping my knees, trying to pull myself back into the room and put distance between what I had just seen and what was actually in front of me. It was a dream. That was what I told myself. It had to be. But I couldn't make the image go away. Daniel was not lying down, not the way he was now, but sitting upright on the bed, facing me, his mouth stretched wide open, too wide, the kind of open that didn't look like breathing or speaking, but like something being pulled out of him. And his eyes were completely white. No iris, no color, nothing. Just white, and still, and pointed directly at me. Even now, sitting 2 feet away from him with the lights on and the machines running, and everything exactly as it should be, I could still see it. The image had the kind of clarity that normal dreams don't have, the kind that stays. I stood up slowly and reached for his hand. It was still cold. I held it and looked at his face, the real version of it, still and slack against the pillow, and waited for the other image to fade, for the distance between what I dreamed and what was real to widen back to something manageable. But it didn't. Before I left, I crossed to the curtain and pulled it back and looked at the empty bed on the other side, clean and undisturbed, and stood there until I was certain nothing was going to change. Then I let it fall and went out to the hallway and told his mother I needed to go home for a few hours. She nodded and didn't ask any questions. I told her I'd be back soon, and I meant it, and I walked out of the hospital with every intention of returning. When I got home, I didn't sleep. I went to the bedroom and sat on the edge of the bed in the dark, still in the coat I'd worn to the hospital. The image wouldn't leave me. His mouth stretched open, his eyes completely white, and underneath all of it, that word, help. I told myself it had been a nightmare, that my mind had gone somewhere dark after the worst night of my life, and that was all it was. But it hadn't felt that way. It had felt like him. Then my phone rang, his mother. I answered and knew before she said a word. I could hear it in her breathing, slow and hollowed out, the kind of quiet that only comes after. What happened? I asked. Then, Andrea, he didn't make it. It was early this morning. The doctors tried, but they couldn't. She stopped. And I sat there in the dark, realizing that while I had been wide awake in this room, going over and over that nightmare, it had already been over. He had already been gone. The image came back one last time. Daniel sitting up, white eyes and mouth open. What if that had been real? What if he had been reaching for me, and I had walked out of the building? Andrea, she said, her voice breaking on my name. I'm so sorry. That was when it broke. I cried until I had nothing left. Whether he had needed me and I hadn't stayed, I'll never know. And that is the thing I carry.